Hi, I'm Liv,
And I'm Brit.
and this is the Reclaimed Motherhood podcast.
This podcast is about coming back home to ourselves as women and as mothers.
We're here for the honest conversations, the ones about intuition, fertility, birth, parenting, relationships, holistic health, and the many seasons of womanhood that shape us.
We'll be sharing our own lived experiences, the things that we've questioned, unlearned, and reclaimed, so you feel encouraged to trust your body, your instincts, and your own inner knowing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Reclaimed Motherhood podcast. Britt and I are so excited to be back. And this week, we kind of wanted to take a deep dive into ways that we did not notice at the time that the Lord was showing up in our lives. And he's such a good God and he cares about the details. And I think sometimes we can get so wrapped up in just the day to day life and not really noticing all the different blessings that we have. So we wanted to share a bit about our own experiences and then ways that we can invite the Holy Spirit into our lives.
Yeah. Yep. It's a
All
fun
right.
topic
I
today.
was going to
Yeah.
say, do you want to go first this time?
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I didn't really think ahead about this. But I mean, it's not really something you have to think ahead about, you know? It's it's like he has just always shown up
Yeah.
since day one. And I can look back and it's almost goes along with what I like to say, or a lot of people like to say, that everything's happening for us all the time,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And even people that are not believers will use that saying and they'll say everything is happening for us. And I think that um, God has a way of even things that don't turn out by whatever decisions that we've made or choices that we've made, or just at the being the victim of whatever circumstance that we have happened to us, right?
Yep.
He has a way every time of turning this something bad into something really beautiful,
Right.
just this alchemizing that's happened over and over and over and over again throughout my entire life. So
Hmm.
like going back and trying to remember every single time that I have seen him show up in my life actually feels
Overwhelming.
impossible. Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels really overwhelming to like come up and like name some things, there's just so many.
there are. But I think that your point about the way that we view what happens in our life and the things that happen in our lives plays such a big role in our overall mindset with our lives, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I shared on the podcast that I grew up Catholic. And so in
Hmm.
Catholicism, a lot of the teachings kind of make it seem as though God is out to get you,
Hmm.
like he's punishing you almost for certain things, like if you're making mistakes or doing the wrong thing in life. And so I remember being like, well, what did I do to make this bad thing happen to me? Like
Hmm.
what are all these things that I did to make this bad thing happen to me? And I was like, I thought I was a good person and now I'm being punished by this happening or that happening, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously that was a very young mindset of mine. It was before I was married, before I had kids. And that really shapes your whole outlook though, right? Because if we're looking at what's happening to us as a punishment,
Hmm.
or like you said, having a victim mentality, I don't think that way anymore
Mm-mm.
because we can take all of these things, and we've said this on the podcast before, really, really hard things that have happened to us. We can take them, we can learn from them, and the hope is, right, that we can help other people in the process. That's the hope.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm sure that you can share in that sentiment too. Like, I'm sure your life hasn't just been like butterflies and roses, right? There's hard things that happen. And I feel like we can take that and be like, okay, now what? What am I going to do now with what has happened to me?
Yeah, you're right. It hasn't been all butterflies and rainbows and roses. It's been a lot of it's there's been a lot of trials and there's just been struggles, and I just think you can't do life without those things. And if you have a choice, you have a choice to choose to find what is in it for you, or like you're saying, just play the victim of your circumstances. And I definitely remember going back and remembering, like going back to like my first marriage and just feeling like the whole time I was just the victim of this abuser and thinking like, what have I done that I deserve this, you know? And like you were saying, like I thought I was a good person, like, and now I can look back and I can see where my everything that's happened in my life has brought me to where I am now, and I can see where that going through that relationship and going through that marriage, and also like the biggest blessing ever came out of that. I got my oldest, my, Dylan. So gosh, like it doesn't, anything is worth that. So yeah, like on top of that, I've been able to use that experience in my life that was not pleasant. And I've been able to support other women and other couples because of that experience, right? So, um, yeah, it's not all just for us. It's for what God's purpose is for us, and how His plans for us, and how He is planning on us showing up and serving other people. Like all of our experiences, good, bad, whatever, they God's always in it. God's always showing up. God's always in it. And then when you get to a place in your life like you and I live, where we've we're middle aged, I guess, right? Is that what people those life experiences, we've had the privilege of seeing God's hand in it through the whole thing. And like the other day, I was walking the lake and ran into a woman I've never met her before, and was able to um, I did my best, obviously, to speak life and encouragement into her, because what she was sharing with me were part of my own lived experiences. And so um, yeah, I just think that he's just always in it. Even when we can't see him, we can't feel him, he's there.
Yeah. I think that for me, I feel like I just wish that somebody was saying that to me growing up, right? Like, not
Yeah.
just being like, well, you have to follow these things or God, you're not going to go to heaven. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there was so much fear projected
There's so
in our
much fear
upbringing
projected. And I
around our
know,
religion. Mhm.
yeah, and I know
Mhm.
everyone has their own personal beliefs and everybody interprets the Bible differently. Um, but I just feel like being more encouraging is so important, especially if you're raising kids in this world, right? Our
Mhm.
world has this obsession with being comfortable and not ever suffering. And the reality is that we are going to suffer. It is a part of life. And
Mhm.
so if we go through life with this expectation of everything always being easy, then what are we learning? What are we doing here? And so, like you were saying, if you look back at your previous marriage, if I look back at my previous marriage, I wouldn't have my daughter, just like you wouldn't have yours. And so, looking at what happened and learning from that is crucial, right? I mean,
Yes.
there's so many women that I see nowadays on social media sharing these things um, about just what they've gone through, but they make it. It's almost like they hyper focus on it and they like make it their personality, really,
Oh
or
my
their
gosh, it's like
brand.
totally part of their identity, their brand. Yes, they
Yeah,
totally
but
make it
like
their
you
brand.
said, they make it a part of their identity. And so I think it's important to, yeah, you have a story, right? That's your life, that's your lived experience.
Mhm.
But you don't have to let that one thing define your entire life for yourself, for your family, for anyone. And I think obviously at the time when we're going through something and it's so horrible, having someone say, well, this is just happening for you is not helpful, right?
No,
In
in
that
fact, it's
moment.
offensive. You're like, get the heck out of here with
Yeah,
your
you're like, can you just
positivity.
please not? Because there are awful things that happen, right?
Yes, yeah,
And
hard
so
thing.
there's, I mean, what I try and remember in those moments is that like the God is always close to the brokenhearted, right?
Mhm.
Um, and even though God is above us, He's our Father, He's watching over us, we do still have free will. And so there are
Mhm.
things and choices that we make that might not be the best choices that He has tried to share with us or point us in different directions
Mhm.
that we may not have listened to. And so I think that making sure that we are really just being mindful of the word and what the Bible says and how that applies to our life, and then also not letting one bad thing that happens take over everything. in our
Yeah.
lives. And
Well, and
also,
that's what you're seeing on Instagram. Yeah.
yeah. And so sharing that with your kids and sharing that with your family, like, hey, yeah, I did go through this, but how can I use this for good? Like God,
Hmm.
just because something bad happens doesn't mean everything is going to be bad. So many good things can come out of it. Um,
You can feel like everything is going to be bad if you choose to, though. Like that's what you're saying.
yeah,
It's like
it's
everything's
like,
just happening to us all the time. Poor me.
right. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. I actually really, really struggle with that, with the victim mentality. I really have a hard time with it. And this is
Mhm.
not saying or taking away from people who really have gone through horrific things. I am not
Yeah.
saying that there aren't people who are victims. I wholeheartedly understand that.
Hmm.
But taking that and running with it and being like, well, my life is horrible now and there's nothing that I can do. Like God's not near me. God doesn't care about me. Like that's not helpful for you. It's not helpful
Hmm.
for your friends. It's not helpful for your family. And so I think just looking back at my life, God always helped me figure out a way, right? Like I went through a divorce, which I never wanted in the first place. Um,
Yeah.
but at that time, that's just the reality of what happened. And it's not that I wasn't trying. It's not that I didn't care. Um, but I have my daughter out of it. And then moving forward, I look at all of the different ways that I was able to support my daughter. I wouldn't have been able to do that had God not been watching over me. There were so many
Hmm.
things that just lined up. And even with my husband now, like there were so many things that happened in leading up to me meeting him, during our first year of dating. Like all of these things lined up,
Hmm.
and there's literally no other explanation than that, except that the Lord cares, and He cares
Yes.
about the details, and He cares about, everything along the way.
Yeah. I've had the same experience, like when you're talking about meeting your husband now, like, oh, it doesn't make any sense from just like listening to it. It's
No,
like
it
somebody was just
made
asking
no
us our
sense.
story the other day at lunch, and I was like, oh, this is really fun to share our story and reflect on that. Because, geesh, like the whole thing is so weird and wild. Yeah, God was totally in it the whole time, and there's no other explanation. And yeah, I think that you get to choose every day. You get to wake up and choose. And if you, this is where I think social media kind of gets women in trouble, is or people in trouble. But if you are more concerned or your main focus is your content on social media and how many likes or views or comments you're going to get, you're going to stay on that victim triangle, because of how stimulating the content is for other women that also resonate with that whole victimhood mentality, right? So you're gonna be like this, you're just gonna have like, there's the victim, I'm the victim, there's the villain, and you're just gonna stay on that triangle because the content is like stimulating to other viewers. And so if your focus is that, you're gonna stay there, you're gonna stay in that space. And if your focus is on God and staying close to Him, and staying in the Word, and waking up every day and just choosing joy and choosing to see what's in it for us. It's a choice. It doesn't mean, like you're saying, it's super annoying when somebody comes at you with like all of the positivity. And I'm not meaning for it to sound like that. But if we all have a choice every day when we wake up, and sometimes choosing joy is hard. Sometimes that's not the easy choice. Um,
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not,
yeah.
and I don't want it to come across as though we're saying like everything is easy. Life just sucks and you have to move on. Like no, that's not what
Yeah.
we're saying. But I do think, like you said, it's a choice, right? It's a choice every day what we're consuming, what we're paying attention to. And so what I've been trying to do, I definitely could be better about it, is just like start my morning in the word, start my
Hmm.
morning with prayer. I always end my days with prayer, but I feel like starting out praying over the day is something that
Hmm.
I really am trying to build into my daily routine within our home.
Hmm.
But noticing the little things and paying attention to them, and also just figuring out ways to highlight, hey, we have all these blessings because we worked hard, and God sees that we care, and God sees that we follow Him. And we are so blessed for those reasons.
Mhm. Yes, very. Yeah, just showing gratitude, just speaking gratitude out loud every morning when you wake up is a really great way to start the day. And that's even something that people that are not believers will do and tell you that there's great benefit in it. But when you're doing it and you're thanking God for those blessings, you're thanking God for those gifts, it shift your mindset, like you were saying. It changes your perspective, and your whole day will play out differently because you started your day expressing gratitude for the blessings that you have. Sometimes some mornings those can be harder to find, right? Some mornings those gratitudes can be like, thank you for this toilet that flushes, right? um, and a dishwasher and things like that. Like those are things you can be so grateful for. And it might sound silly, but sometimes you just start there and sometimes it just keeps going. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I actually have a lot more things to be grateful for than I thought I did when I first woke up this morning. And so it can be a really helpful way to start the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear you. And I think, like, to your point, there are people who are like, "Oh, I'm starting my day with gratitude. I'm starting my day being grateful for all these things." And it's a good way to start the day. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that really modeling that for your family and your kids and being like, "Yeah, like sometimes we have hard days." So I think acknowledging all the blessings and then also acknowledging the hard days and okay, what did we learn from them? What can we change and shift and grow together? How can we pray together? What are certain
Mm-hmm.
things that I can work on? What are certain things that you can work on? And reminding our family that we're actually a team and we work together and God cares about our family and God cares about the things that we're doing and how we're treating each other and the choices that we make. I think that
Mm-hmm.
there's it's such an opportunity every day, right? Like we can wake up and we can choose to be upset because we had a bad day yesterday or because we didn't sleep well or whatever it may be. There's just always an opportunity to shift that, and there's
Yeah.
always an opportunity to I guess kind of even reflect on the day and be like, how did God show up today? Like, how did I know, what are the things that I noticed today that really made me feel close to the Lord? And I think sometimes we feel further away when we're not in the word and we're not around people who also believe in the Lord. Or I don't want to say going to church because I feel like sometimes during the hardest parts of my life, I wasn't going to church, but I still felt that God was around me, right? So I don't think that you have to go to church in order to feel like God is close to you.
Mm-hmm.
God can be anywhere. And I think that that's an important lesson for our kids to know too. I
Mm-hmm.
do think that having a community of people who care about you makes a really big
Yeah.
difference. And I know that for me personally, this time around with postpartum, our church showed up for us. They had a meal train for us, and it was really, really helpful for this postpartum for me, especially with the things that I went through this year. And so I'm super grateful for that, right? And some
Mm-hmm.
of these people I'm not super duper close with. They just know me because we all go to church. Um, and so those people were blessing us and they hardly know us. They were blessing our family. And so it's like when there's people who you don't even know who are praying for you and people who hardly know you who are praying for you, who are still showing up for you, like God cares about that. And
Mm-hmm.
I know this might sound silly, but I was thinking about this because I was thinking about it the other day. But Britt and I haven't even met in real life, which I don't think any of our listeners know. But I was thinking about how amazing it is that we have connected in this way. It like honestly makes me emotional. But like God took
Mm-hmm.
two people on different parts of the country and was like, hey, you guys are going to connect and you guys are going to talk and you guys can share things about motherhood. And I just think that that's so beautiful and special.
Good.
And so I think that like even if it might sound silly to some people, like God brought us together because he did, because God
Yeah.
said so. And that's how I met one of my other best friends too. And I think that's really special. And I think noticing that and paying attention to that and being able to form relationships like this it's amazing. It is a blessing.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you, Liv.
me too.
Mm.
Don't mind me and my postpartum hormones.
Oh, I love it so much. So tender. Yeah, I agree with the whole community. And I also was thinking about how he is such a good father, and he wants to bless us, right? So when we are focused on the blessings, I think we are able to see where all he is in everything, right? And I was also thinking about how if we have a choice every day when we're starting a day, it's not just about choosing joy, it's also about how, if we're going to try and be Christ-like, if we're trying to live our life like him, think about how he woke up every day and he was serving people, right? And he found joy in serving others. So I think a lot of us can fall into, like, we had expectations of what a situation would look like, or what um, a job situation might look like, or what our family might look like, or whatever part of our life we might have these expectations or desires, dreams about what something will be like and look like and feel like. And I think that we are missing out when we're focused on what it is that we want, because I think what he wants is so much better than what we want. We just have to be able to let go, the whole let go and let God. The, like, really, like, if you're just like one of
Easier
the,
said than done.
yeah, easier said than done. I know some of these things I'm like, it sounds so silly when I'm saying it. That's why I'm kind of laughing through it. But just even the other day, I was sharing with somebody, I was like, yeah, marriage is hard. Marriage can be really hard. And something that I found that makes marriage easier for me, like a couple of years ago, was um, giving my marriage to God every morning. And then my focus is, my marriage is God's marriage. Like, God, my marriage belongs to you. It does not belong to me. My marriage belongs to you. Use it. My daughters are your daughters. Like, my business is your business, you know? So if none of it is mine and I've given it all to God, then my focus for even just that day, the day that I started my prayer with, if I give my marriage to God that morning, then the rest of the day, I'm not focused on what is in it for me. What am I getting out of this? Your focus changes. And so you can do that with literally anything in your life. And God's going to really do some beautiful work in your marriage. He's going to do beautiful work in your business. He's going to do beautiful work in your family. If you are, and that is a way of praising him, you know? It's not just um singing worship music. It's also showing gratitude and saying thank you. Thank you for these gifts. Thank you for these blessings. And also, this is yours. And I think that also, there's something supernatural that's happening there. But I also think that it's, like you're saying, a mindset shift too, that is going to change the trajectory of our day, but also our life.
Well, ultimately, I think it's like a surrender, right? Like we kind of
Mhm.
briefly touched on this last week, but when we are literally like, okay, God, you blessed me with being alive today. You blessed me with this family. You blessed me with this marriage, this friendship, relationship, whatever it is, this job, this business. Like, what do you want to do with it? And that's where
Mhm.
I have seen myself and also some of the people closest to me. That's where I've seen these crazy shifts in growth, in
Mhm.
perspective, in finances. That's where I've seen it. And that has,
Yeah.
I mean, it's strengthened my belief myself with what I've gone through, but also seeing some of the people that I know who really just literally let go and let God. It has been
Mhm.
wild. It is so
Mhm.
wild to see. And that doesn't mean, I think the other piece I wanted to touch on is that it doesn't mean that we're not showing up and doing the work and we're just saying, hey,
Oh yeah.
God, do it all. It's
Yeah.
being like, okay, how can I be intentional in my day to day life with the people that I love, with what I've been blessed with, and also surrendering it to be like, okay, God, what's your plan?
Mhm.
Ultimately, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next. Right. And so,
Mhm.
like, even looking at the last couple years, it's like I had a really amazing last year and I had a really awful this year, but also there were blessings along the way. So it's like God has shown me both, right? Like he's shown me,
Mhm.
like you were suffering, you went through this, you had this loss, and I was still there. You were still close to me, and you had all these blessings. And so I just think it's so important to acknowledge, like, yeah, some things are really really hard, It's not saying they're not hard. It's just saying, yes, that happened. And now what
Mhm.
are we going to do with it? Now that your life is different, or this happened or that happened, how can we serve others ultimately?
Mhm.
How can we change something within our family? How can we change one of our friendships? How can we help other people? And I think that was one of the biggest shifts for me in being married. Again, is just that like I actually really love serving people, like
Mhm.
the people that and it's not even people that I know, right? Like
Mhm.
I love showing up and doing things at church. I love just making food and dropping it off at someone's house.
Mhm.
I love the mundane, right? Like sometimes
Mhm.
those are the most beautiful lesson giving moments with your
Yeah.
family or with people that you don't know, praying for people you don't know, doing things and showing your kids like, yeah, it's a good thing to be a good person and show up even if you don't know somebody.
Yeah.
Um, because that was one thing I remember. I don't remember exactly what I was doing. I was doing something, and my daughter was like, "Well, you don't even know them." And I was like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean we can't be kind and show up for someone just because we don't know
Mhm.
them, right?"
Yeah,
Because
that's so beautiful. Such a good example for her.
yeah, but ultimately,
Yeah.
like everybody in this world needs love and support, right? And like we
Mhm.
are all God's children, and so if
Mhm.
we have the ability to help someone, why wouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of it goes back to what we talk about, I think, every single call is just um, listening to Holy Spirit, right? And letting him guide us. And so that being our intuition. And when we have those nudges, like I get nudges a lot of times in the morning when I'm in prayer and I'm still foggy and haven't had all my coffee yet. That's usually when I get them. But I get like nudges to reach out to people. And sometimes it's funny because sometimes they are like your daughter saying, you know, well, you don't really know that person. And I can't explain it, but I'm like, I just need to reach out to them and say I'm praying for them. And I will have something sometimes specific that I'm praying for them. And I really don't even know them very well. But if you are in a space where you are seeking him and leaning on him and going to him and having conversation, he loves that. And there's so much beauty in serving and being a servant and just being like open to him giving you these little pieces of information and ways that you can serve others. And sometimes serving others is bringing somebody a meal, and sometimes it's praying over them, and even if they don't even know it or know you. And so there's so many different ways that you can serve, and that does fill your cup. People think of serving as a depleting thing, and I think there are ways that are serving that can be depleting, but he will fill us back up. If we go to him in prayer, he's going to fill our cup, and that makes us more available for serving others, and more available for the joy that's in that, the pleasure that we find in serving others.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I don't know. I just feel like there's so many ways that we can we can really choose and shift what we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
And God loves seeing what we do with what He's blessed us with or
Mm-hmm.
what we've gone through. And I just feel like the more we look at that, the easier it is to go through life, even on the hard days.
Yes, because
And
you're
so,
like, God's going to use this. He's
yeah,
going to use this moment. Yeah.
why are you yelling? Yeah.
Thank you.
But to be fair, like even on the hard days, on the days of motherhood that are challenging, we
Mm-hmm.
can be like, okay, what did I learn from this? How can I shift this? We're
Mm-hmm.
getting all done, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
because some days we don't have the capacity to show up the way that we want to.
yeah.
And that's super normal. That's super normal in motherhood. There have been many days where, or marriage and motherhood, it's all hard stuff. Or even just like if you're a working mama being like, gosh, I do not have the capacity to go and take care of 8 to 10 patients today and then come back home and then take care of my family and run them all the places they need to go and then make sure everybody gets fed and bathed. And like sometimes you wake up and you're like, all of that sounds way too overwhelming and I don't have the capacity for it. And
Mhm.
then that's when it's like just lean on him.
Yeah.
He'll give you just what you need. And I've seen that be true for me in I've made a post about this, but like there's a lot of women that get really and people they just get like really caught up in like how many hours of sleep did I get last night? Did I
Yes.
get enough hours of
Yes.
sleep?
Yes.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even think about that." That just sounds like don't think about that. I'm
I
like,
know.
God is taking care of me every time. I promise you, there's probably been nights where I've had just a couple hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't do my day like I felt like I only had a couple hours of sleep. Like that's where God shows up for me all the time over many years of motherhood um, is making me feel rested and energized and like I had the capacity to do my day when it doesn't make actual sense in
Sense.
the natural for
Yeah.
me to have had enough rest to do my day and have the energy to do my day.
But that's the thing, though, is I feel like genuinely sometimes the days where I get the least amount of sleep, I get so much done and I have a great day. But if my mindset was horrible and my life sucks and this happens to me, then that wouldn't have been a good day. I feel like both of our kids are like, okay, mom, time to be back with me.
Ran through naked and she's like, "Hi, bye."
I think the takeaway from this conversation is try and notice the ways that God has shown up for you. You have a couple minutes to reflect on it over your life or from the day to day. God is always right there. He's always showing up, and there's always ways to learn from that. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything. I think we've covered a lot today in a short amount of time, which is
Yeah, we did. So, if there are any ways that Britt and I can pray for any of you guys who are listening, message us, email us. We're happy to do that. Prayer is so, so powerful. And I know that. I'm sure you know that. And any listeners who have felt the power of prayer probably also know that too. So, if you're having a hard time or you're in a good season, we would love to pray for you either way. Let us know. And in the meantime, we'll be excited to chat with you guys next week.
bye.
Bye, guys.